As it relates to the parking, are they allowed to add additional parking restrictions when doing an ADU?
When you convert a garage into an ADU and you're getting rid of the parking in the garage, the city cannot. I would be careful here, and part of it's just very practical. Like I was living in LA part-time for a while, and you're driving around in the West Hollywood, and you're like, how? How are you going to do this? There is no parking already. It's an absolute nightmare. So the original language that came out in the accessory dwelling unit bill was that they said the city can't force you to do any extra parking as long as there's mass transit within a half a mile. So that half a mile now is clarified to be a half mile of walking distance. So you can't just look up your GPS and go, oh hey, I'm a half mile away from there. Well, okay, actually you're up a mountain and over the hill and boat. So they've clarified that a little bit. But I would go back to your local level. I think some of it's going to come down to safety as well. So the locals do have some flexibility. To answer your question simply, no, they shouldn't be allowed to replace it. You're allowed to tandem park and use the existing there and on the street. But in those cities where you're really looking at a matter of safety, I wouldn't bet on that. I think they're going to have some kind of exemption to force the issue, because there's some cities that just they don't have it. So unless you're getting people to move in there that plan to ride their bike, walk, or use mass transit, it's also, I don't know. I think it might mess with the value of homes depending on how it's done. So just be careful.
Is mass transit defined as like a public bus stop, or is that like defined like as an Amtrak like bus like train station?
It's interesting. Now, I don't know the specific verbiage on this, but I did see it. They did specify it had to do with a bus stop, because I asked this question when I was interviewing Senator Wachowski. I said, hey, like I know LA Department of Transportation is vesting in those bikes, like they're working with Lime. I was like, hey, if I got that bike on the corner, does that count? So no, as of yet, no, it does not count. But it was funny because he's like, that's a great idea. So maybe that's coming. But for now, it's bus stop, and I think the buses have to have all-night service or something. There is a clarification. I don't know that, but it is specified in the new bills. I just don't know it off the top of my head.